Now, everybody who's watching, let's get RBT to
1 million
subscribers by Christmas. He's the best Madden scientist there is. I subscribe to him, and if you don't subscribe to, your favorite team is going to lose to the, I refuse to say that team.
Madden 21 breaking news, as last night the guys over at EA Sports did a pretty big live stream over on Twitch highlighting the changes, fixes, and everything to Madden 21 gameplay. As today I would like to say welcome to the laboratory, as news anchor scientist RBT back today to do some in-depth research analysis on the notes and everything changed in the Madden 21 gameplay. Now, the first bit of business and the most important bit of business that we did learn from the stream, they said around mid-August is when they are going to come out with huge news for franchise mode. I'm not sure if they meant for like Madden 21 franchise mode specifically or just what they're going to do moving forward. Well, I mean, like, I think they're going to have changes. I would hope so, but that was a really big point. Like the first 5 minutes of the entire stream, that's what they talked about. So once again, guys, I got to give you guys a pat on the back. I don't know how that like is a pat on the back, but you get the whole point. Because if it wasn't for the whole entire fixed Madden franchise movement over on social medias and on YouTube and everything, none of this would happen. So it looks like they are taking it serious and they really are looking into their franchise mode. So hopefully, as they did say, around mid-August, we're going to have some updates. Or either they're going to have it fixed for Madden 21 at launch, maybe after launch, maybe a post-patch update, or maybe, unfortunately, it's what they're looking forward into the future, like Madden 22. But as long as we get changed, we're good men and we did a good job. Before we get into the rest of the in-depth news anchor analysis, guys, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't, because if and only if we do hit 600k subscribers by the launch of Madden 21, about a month away, we're going to be giving away a total of 10 copies of Madden 21 to you guys, my subscribers and subscribers only. So make sure to take that millisecond that it does take to click that subscription button if you haven't. With that said, science time. Science analysis. Oh, actually, it's not time. I gotta listen to a word from today's sponsor first. I would like to give a massive shout out to GamerSupps for sponsoring today's video. GamerSupps is flavored powder that you add directly to your water to give you an extra boost of energy. And I'll show you guys right here. Got my handy dandy shaker cup and my favorite flavor as well. We got some blue raz going on right here. And as mentioned, literally just unscrew the top, take out the filter, open up said pouch of blue raz GamerSupps, then pour directly into the cup, apply filter, apply top of cup. This is where you go to freaking town and shake that bottle. Live taste test. It's good. GamerSupps was created specifically for gamers, artists, esports competitors, creatives, and generally for anyone with an active lifestyle to increase your reaction times and for a better focus. And GamerSupps starts at just 1/3 of the price of other energy drinks out there. Most energy drinks out there are about $2 per serving, when the good people at GamerSupps start their product at just 35 cents per serving. And also, GamerSupps contains healthier ingredients so you don't crash when the caffeine wears off, as it helps you stay in the zone when you're gaming, when you're streaming, or doing any sort of physical activity. There's no artificial sugars, all organic caffeine. It even has some vitamins in it. They have a variety of 10 different flavors, so there's definitely gonna be a flavor out there that would suit your taste buds. And let me tell you guys, this is literally one of the greatest offers I have ever seen. They'll literally let you try their product for free, as you can use my code RBTUSFree. Once again, RBTUS free to get your sample packs for absolutely free. So right off the bat, I promise you, like, they taste good. Why would they give them out for free if they didn't taste good? Once again, huge shout out and thank you to GamerSupps for sponsoring today's video. And make sure you do click the link at the top of the description box below to try GamerSupps for absolutely free by using code RBTUS free. And plus, once you realize that it tastes incredible and the product is incredible on its own and you buy some more GamerSupps, you can simply use code RBT to get 10% off anything else on the website. As with that said, I'm gonna go ahead and drink the rest of this GamerSupps so I can actually have energy while I'm editing this video. This is where I'm a news anchor, the Gridiron Notes, which I will link in the description box below if you want to read the whole thing by yourself. But a lot of this stuff is highlighting the changes that they did make after the closed beta because of our feedback. And a lot of stuff that we have talked about the channel has been finalized, how it's gonna be implemented in Madden 21. So I'm freaking excited to do some analysis with you guys. So first bit of business, I didn't even understand like this was a problem, but apparently the celebration run mechanics literally just gonna be you clicking left trigger. In the past, as they did say, you had to press like 2 or 3 buttons for you to be able to celebrate as you ran, but now you just literally click left trigger. So that's different. Once again, we're no longer going to have a precision modifier, which was the same way in the beta, so that's really not a big deal, as everything's going to be naturally steered with the left stick input, with the amount of steering scaled per each ball carrier special move ratings, which I think that just makes things a lot simpler and just makes things easier for you to control as a user. Next, the pre-play defensive adjustment updates, because they introduced a new defensive back lock-on mechanic, which can be activated pre-play. We had to shuffle around the defensive pre-play mechanic to support it, and now pressing left bumper or L1 will now activate DB lock-on for your user-controlled players in pre-play or during the play. So it makes it just a lot easier to be able to go from like a defensive lineman to like the DB. So I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I think that's definitely solid. Makes things a lot more smoother. And this one's really cool too. The DB lock-on mechanic. If you press the LB or L1 button, it kind of helps steer your player relative to the leverage on the locked-on receiver rather than the whole field. So this allows you to have more control over the movement of your defender, because we all know when trying to man up a receiver on your own, like using them, it's not the easiest thing, just because of how easy it is for them to cut, and you just don't have a nice counteract to that. And now we do. Just makes your movement a lot smoother, so I like that as well. Now this is really cool too. This is something I really did want to highlight. So an additional feature of depth coming to Madden 21 being the skill stick system, which we didn't really have in the beta, is the concept of a ball carrier archetype that directly impacts the run cycle and special moves each player will use. Here's a quick breakdown of how this works based on ratings, height, and weight. So you have an agile player that can turn and change direction faster, smoother, and has the quickest special moves. Applies to skill position players with 80 agility or above and under 225 pounds. So it makes sense, because like people that obviously are smaller have a better chance to be agile than players that are bigger. So like obviously, god dang freaking, I don't know, Tyreek Hill should be more agile than a Rob Gronkowski. And just based on their body type and their ratings and everything like that, that kind of puts them to a certain archetype that will allow them to do certain ball carrier moves. So I think this is a 100% win, because like obviously your freaking body type has a pretty big impact on how your physicality can be portrayed in your movement. So I like this 100%. You also have agile small. Okay, so agile small is more like Tyreek Hill. So similar to agile, but with a shorter, quicker stride length, applies to agile skill players who are 5'10" and below. So agile, but like mini agile. So Tyreek Hill. Then you have agile tall. Somebody that's agile, but a little bit too tall to do some moves that guys like Christian McCaffrey could do, like Julio Jones. So these guys are 6'2" or taller. And then we have bruiser, like a CJ Anderson. So slower rate of turning, takes longer to change direction, slower evasive special and moves than agile players, which should be the case. Like god dang CJ Anderson can't make the same moves that like Tyreek Hill or CMC can make. Bruiser quick, which is like a Derrick Henry. Similar to Bruiser, but with custom animations for bigger players who have quick feet, applies to Bruiser skill positions and line with speed rating of 90 or above. So obviously Derrick Henry shouldn't have the same type of movement as like a CMC, but just because he's big shouldn't limit him completely. So obviously with him having 90 speed or better, he gets the Bruiser quick kind of stuff. And then Bruiser heavy, kind of same thing, but it's a lot bigger players. This is a lot of defensive linemen. So I love the whole entire archetype kind of system. I love this with the body types, because that just makes things, once again, more realistic and more similar to how things are in real life. Now this is where we get into the talk from the beta. A lot of controversy around the Madden community here around a lot of these topics, and we got our answers in the stream. So first of all, the users on defense felt very slow and sluggish, and this is what I said. You just really couldn't user well. Your player was really slow, was really sluggish. We know in the past, if you had like a 90 speed user, you could really cover like 2 or 3 routes at a time. But what they did say is it'll be a little bit better than what it was in the beta, but this is kind of how we're gonna have the user moving forward. It's no longer gonna be a position where you can cover like 3 or 4 routes with one player, which I understand that, because that's not how it is in real life. Like a middle linebacker can't cover freaking 5 routes because he's that fast. Like, it's just not like possible. And that's what they want to do moving forward, is they want the gameplay to be more authentic to what it would be like in real life. And obviously, you're not going to have a middle linebacker freaking cover 87 routes. So understand that. Like, it does suck, but once again, it's something to adapt to for what they want as a Madden game moving forward. So obviously, it's going to get better. As they did say, it's not going to be as bad as it was in the beta, but it's not going to be like it was in years past. But obviously, as players get faster and better, they'll be able to cover more ground as the year goes along. But it's not going to be what it was in the past. Now, the whole entire hurdle and truck button switch was really, really strange. Hurdle will now return to the Y triangle button. Hurdle is like, they did completely messed up for the beta, but it's going to be exactly how it was like last year and what we're used to. Like, nobody wanted truck to be the Y button. Like, that's just weird. Now, what they did say is it's going to kind of impact the ball carrier stick system, but it still is going to be a lot better than what it was in the beta. And also, they did say that custom controller mapping isn't going to be available this year, but it's something they are looking towards in the future, where you should be able to map whatever buttons you want to be whatever, like, button on the controller. Like, if I wanted sprint to be X for whatever reason, like, I should be able to do that. But they said they can't do that this year, but they're going to, like, try to implement that in the future, which I think is super freaking sick. Now, another small thing they did say in the stream is that players, like, the reaction time was really slow. They said that was just due to the build that was released in the beta. So, like, that's something they've already fixed. Like, it was just, unfortunately, too early for them to have the players tuned as much as they wanted to, both on offense and defense. But they said that's not a problem. They've already fixed it since the beta was closed. Same thing with zone coverage. The same exact problem was basically just that, like, the beta build that was released for us to play during the beta, it just wasn't tuned as much as they wanted it to, but they were able to fix that with more time. So zone coverage and the player reaction should be fixed, which thank God, because it was pretty annoying in the beta, but it's understandable though. So player switching logic doesn't feel intuitive, and I didn't have a problem with that myself. Like, I didn't really highlight this as a problem, but whatever people thought it was a problem, they said they're going to switch it back to Madden 20. Like, instead of what they had in the beta, so I guess that's solid. Now, here we freaking go. The controversy. Film study. The ability where if your opponent ran the same exact play like 3 or 4 times in a game, you'd be able to see your opponent's play art, because I think that's a solid. So your opponent kind of self-consciously, even though you might not still be able to stop it, they don't want to run a play if they know their opponent knows what's coming. I thought it was solid. It makes for more variety in play calling, and that's what the general population wants to see. They don't want to see the same 3 plays ran over and over and over again the entire game. So I thought that was a huge W. And then a lot of competitive players, oh no, not film study. So there's a lot of controversy on this. Now, apparently they took it out, but it's going to be coming back post-launch in a patch. So I think that's a huge W. I did think it needed to be kind of tuned a little bit more balanced, because I didn't think it should have been like an actual ability, like just a superstar ability. I thought it should have been more like an X factor, or maybe not show like the hot routes and everything, because you were able to see if even if your opponent came out in the same play, even if he hot routed it, like you could see the hot routes and everything like that. So maybe that kind of stuff needs to be tuned, but the whole entire idea behind it, I'm 100% down with it, and glad they're bringing it back post-launch. So it's not going to be in the game when it launches, but after a few weeks, the game's launched in a patch, they'll bring that film study. So W, huge W. Now, fatigue penalty for scrambling quarterbacks were a little bit too severe, so they won't be fatigued that too much. Like Lamar Jackson obviously shouldn't be extremely fatigued to the point where he fumbles every single play after he runs like 4 times. So they fixed that a little bit, so that's a solid as well. The AI pass rush doesn't seem as effective as user pass rush, which this is buffed just a little bit, because with how bad the user is this year, like, you have to rely on your AI pass rush a little bit more than years past, and it does seem like they're going to boost this just a little bit, not too much, but I think that should be boosted quite a bit if the user is going to remain as bad as it was. Even though it's going to be improved a little bit from what it was in the beta, the usering is just still not going to be what it was in years past, so I do think that you need a little bit better of an AI pass rush, which they did say they are going to tune a little bit. Now, this is a cool one too. QBs can't be stripped in the pocket without starting a throw on competitive, so they fixed that, and I understand why the competitive player thinks that that is stupid, because like that's just not, like, you can't control that, so that's okay with me. And then, boys, like, I'm excited. Like, I really do think the beta fixed a lot of stuff, and they were able to tune a lot of stuff, so I think the beta was 100% a success. Some other bugs, yeah, if you played the beta, friggin' everybody's arm was like multicolored, so that was a little odd, a little unrealistic to have multicolored arms. Like, I don't think anybody has like a rainbow tattoo covering their complete arm, which was like how it was in the freaking beta. And just some other small little things fixed. As my dudes, this is exciting, but what will be more exciting when they actually release some freaking franchise notes?